The title of my presentation is You Are Our Future Leaders. My first point will be common myths centered around leadership. Next, I'll discuss characteristics that people look for and expect in a good leader. Then I will discuss examples of successful leadership, then not so successful leadership examples, and finally, how you can continue to improve upon your leadership skills. First, myths. Many people have common misunderstandings that you are born a good leader, and that is not true. No one is born a leader. We all have to learn. We all have to develop our leadership skills. Next, what do people look for and expect in a good leader? I've conducted research and surveys, and the responses were a plethora. I've narrowed it down to 5 specific criteria: honesty, forward thinking, inspiring, and competence. First, an example of honesty. Last year, Ohio State University football coach Jim Tressel was less than honest. Ultimately, the result of his actions was he was terminated from his position. What happened was his football players were violating NCAA policy. Another example, Bernie Madoff. People were trusting him to manage and invest their money, and he was incredibly dishonest with other people's money. Now, we'll discuss looking forward. Steve Jobs, founder and CEO of Apple, always had these miraculous, brilliant, innovative ideas that have led to things like the iPad, the iPhone, Mac, and that has really impacted and shaped the way that all of us live our lives. Now, inspiration. Back in 1988, Gallaudet University experienced the Deaf President Now movement. This movement was so important because it was very, very inspiring, and it was motivating people to become involved and show support. Now, we'll discuss competence. Duke University basketball coach, they call him Coach K, has had over 900 wins. He is an expert, and his career really shows an example of competence. And these are characteristics that are important for good leadership. I have an acronym which is DWYSYWD. I'm sure you're curious what that means. It means do what you say you will do. So I was thinking, there's a story that I remember from a while ago back in the 90s. Every year, people from Walmart would swarm Little Rock, Arkansas for a training. The founder of Walmart, Sam Walton, would migrate down to that specific hotel that the people were staying at, and there were a surfeit of people, thousands, that were at this training, and the founder made sure that the people that were coming to that training did not have to spend money out of pocket for things like food. So when they tried, he made sure that didn't happen, and he took care of all of them. And this was a week-long training, and he absolutely did what he said that he would do. And that is a very important quality in a leader. Another important characteristic is being a can-do person. Back in 2008, the presidential elections were underway and Barack Obama was running, and people kept saying, he's too young, he doesn't have enough experience. But Barack Obama was a can-do person. He was an expert at fundraising, outreach, networking, and then ultimately he won the race and became the first African American president of the United States. Another skill that you must have is persistence. An example of this is President Lincoln. Back in the middle 1800s, President Lincoln volunteered for the presidency 8 times and lost. But he was persistent. He kept trying. And then finally he succeeded in 1874. And he became one of the most well-known and respected presidents in our history. And he's the one who put his name on the paper that ultimately fostered Gallaudet University. The term trailblazer, which really means to open doors for other people. An example of a trailblazer is Andrew Foster. Andrew Foster was the first black deaf graduate from Gallaudet University.